Same hallway, same bouncing, different chest, different baby. It is 2 in the morning. One parent has already walked the floor raw, and the baby is still restless. Not fully screaming, not fully settling, just trapped in that thin, exhausted edge, where every sway, every shush, every careful bounce seems to slide right past them. Then the handoff happens. The other parent takes the baby, lays them flat against their chest, and within seconds, the whole body changes. The shoulders drop. The fists loosen. The searching stops. It can feel almost brutal to watch. The obvious explanation comes fast. The baby just likes that parent more. That sounds reasonable. It is also probably the wrong story. Because when a baby between 6 and 9 months, only fully calms on one specific caregiver's chest, you are often not watching favoritism at all. You are watching a nervous system. Recognize the one regulation pattern. It can enter without hesitation. The body knows the shortcut. That is why this moment lands so hard in a family. For the parent who tried first, it can feel like failure in real time. For the parent who gets the instant melt, it can feel less like winning and more like a strange kind of captivity. Great. So now I am the one who has to do this every night. Adults almost cannot help turning the scene into a story about love, preference, closeness, worth. But babies this age are not making emotional rankings the way exhausted grown people fear they are. They are not handing out gold medals in the dark. They are responding to which full body pattern their own body has learned to trust when arousal gets high. This is not a verdict. It is a recognition event. By 6 to 9 months, babies are no longer living in the looser sensory world of early infancy. Memory is stronger now. Familiarity has sharper edges. Expectation is stronger. The body is beginning to keep a more specific record of how comfort usually arrives. A younger baby may settle in many loving arms if the timing, pressure, and movement are close enough. But by the middle of the first year, the nervous system often becomes less generic and more precise. The question is no longer only, is someone here? It is becoming, is this the exact kind of here? My body already knows how to come down inside. That difference changes everything. A chest is not just a soft surface to a distressed baby. It is an entire bundle of signals arriving together. There is the pressure across the front of the body. There is the angle of the spine when the baby is laid against it. There is the rhythm of breathing under the cheek. There is the smell of skin and fabric. There is the warmth, the firmness, the movement signature, and the way the voice sounds when it travels through tissue and bone instead of through open air. Adults think they are simply holding a baby. The baby is receiving a complete sensory environment, and one environment can be easier to read than another. This is the part most parents never hear. Researchers studying early infant familiarity found long ago that babies do not respond to soothing cues, as if all loving versions are interchangeable. Adults might assume a soft voice is soothing simply because it is soft, or a warm body soothing simply because it is warm. But infants are exquisitely sensitive to familiarity. A known smell, a known voice contour, a known breathing rhythm, a known holding angle can all change how much work the nervous system has to do. Under low stress, many patterns may be good enough. Under high stress, the body often reaches for the pattern that requires the least translation. Relief is easier when the signal is already known. That helps explain the handoff moment. To the adults, the room is the same, the baby is the same, the goal is the same. To the baby, the regulation field changes completely. The cheek lands on a different sternum. The chest vibrates at a different depth. The breathing cadence changes. The shoulder slope changes. The bounce signature changes. The smell changes. None of these are moral differences. None of them mean one parent matters and the other does not. But to a small body already running hot, sensory differences can be decisive. Love may be equal. Readability may not be. This is where co-regulation research starts to matter. In studies that tracked distressed infants with caregivers, researchers did not just watch whether the baby stopped crying. They watched what happened to the body during recovery. Adults might expect soothing to be mostly about technique. Better bouncing, better timing, better shushing. But the more precisely people measured the process, the clearer it became that settling is not only about what the adult does, it is also about how quickly the baby's physiology can stop resisting the incoming pattern. Under familiar, well-matched conditions, breathing smooths faster, muscle tension drops sooner, and the restless searching in the limbs begins to shut off. The body does not simply like the chest. It recognizes how to organize inside it. One chest is not magic. It is pre-learned. That is why the release can look so dramatic. The baby who stayed rigid in one set of arms suddenly goes soft in another. The ragged breath rounds out. The face unclenches. The tiny hands stop doing that restless opening and closing. That says the system is still searching. Adults see that and hear a verdict. This baby picked a favorite. But that frame is too cruel and too shallow for what is actually happening. What you are watching is the difference between a body still solving the equation and a body that has landed on the answer it already knows. The calm is not random. The route was rehearsed, and that rehearsal is often body deep. Maybe this is the chest where most naps start. Maybe this is the breathing rhythm the baby has fallen asleep on most often. Maybe this is the voice that has most frequently arrived at the exact moment of overload and stayed until the body came down. Maybe this is the torso angle that best fits the baby's current size. Muscle tone and need for pressure. Adults like stories about emotion because emotion feels noble, but nervous systems are practical. They rely on repeated pairings. When this smell, this pressure, this rhythm, this vibration arrive together, the next thing is usually relief. The body remembers the way down. That does not make the other caregiver irrelevant. In fact, one of the most important corrections here is that the working chest is not proof of deeper love, and the non-working chest is not proof of failure. A different adult may still be providing safety. That matters enormously. They may simply be providing it in a pattern that takes longer for this particular state to decode, or a pattern that works better earlier in the evening, or in play, or in recovery from daytime overwhelm, but not in that exact 2 a.m.'s edge of sleep spiral. Babies do not build only one regulatory map, but when they are tired and flooded, they often use the clearest one first. The shortest road wins when the storm is loud. This is where families accidentally injure themselves with the wrong interpretation. One parent feels rejected. The other feels overburdened. The room fills with quiet stories no baby ever intended to tell. But the baby is not saying, "I love you less." The baby is saying something much more mechanical and much more hopeful. My system knows exactly what to do here. That is not a judgment on the adults. It is evidence that regulation has become embodied enough to be recognized before the baby could ever explain it. You are not just holding them. You are becoming a pattern their body can enter. And that is a much bigger thing than preference. A baby between 6 and 9 months is not only learning who feels good, they are learning what coming down feels like. When it lands with precision, safety is becoming specific. It has a smell, a tempo, a pressure, a voice that vibrates a certain way, through a certain chest, a place where the body no longer has to keep searching. This is how trust leaves fingerprints. in muscle and breath. That is the deeper emotional reframe both parents need. The one whose chest works is not better. They may simply be the body most saturated with prior successful repair in this particular lane of distress. And the one whose chest does not work as fast is not less loved. They may still be building that root or offering a pattern the baby uses better in a different state, a different hour, a different kind of need. Bodies are specific. That is not the same thing as unfair. Specific is not the same thing as exclusive. On its own, a baby who relaxes fully only on one caregiver's chest does not usually mean something is wrong. Many babies this age show highly specific preferences around smell, posture, pressure, movement, and familiarity, especially when tired, overstimulated, or close to sleep. Every child develops on their own timeline. But if the baby remains persistently inconsolable with everyone, shows extreme stiffness or pain in certain positions, struggles with feeding, arches sharply, or seems distressed no matter who is holding them, it may be worth raising with a pediatric professional, not because one preferred chest is a red flag, but because repeated patterns of distress matter more than isolated moments of preference. The deeper truth here is bigger than, my baby only loves one parent. A baby between 6 and 9 months is not making a judgment about the adults in the room. They are learning how to recognize the exact sensory pattern that tells their whole system, with the least effort possible, that it is safe to stop bracing. That is not favoritism. That is early mind building through the body. So the next time the hallway has already been walked raw, the baby stays restless through rocking and bouncing, and then finally relaxes only when laid against one specific caregiver's chest. Do not rush to the old story. Do not turn it into a verdict on love. Watch what the body is actually doing. Watch the shoulders let go. Watch the breath lengthen. Watch the searching stop. This is not a strange little preference. This is development happening in real time. They are not just picking a person. They are learning how to recognize with complete certainty the one fully familiar sensory sequence that lets their nervous system come all the way down.